Welcome to Back Cover, the podcast that explores the classic soul music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm Karen Williams. Join me and my co-host Steve Williams, and no, we're not related, as we flip over the album covers and share stories of the movers and shakers that created, wrote, and produced those classic soul sounds. We'll educate and entertain you, all while keeping the music alive. Welcome to episode number 7. Today we talk with Mr. Chris Rizik. He is the publisher of SoulTracks.com, the largest soul online magazine in America. We also discuss a little bit about crossover artists and who didn't and should have crossed over. So stay tuned. But I want to introduce Chris Rizik. Rizik, correct?
Ruzek.
Who is the publisher, editor? Are you also the founder of SoulTracks?
I'm the founder in my kitchen.
Wow.
Well, he had coney dogs.
I was eating coney dogs.
That's right.
And SoulTracks is an online publication that talks about all kind of soul music and history, and we use it as a resource here, you know, for information like soul birthdays, when we do the soul birthdays, and we always give you credit. We don't, you know, because I'm a journalism person, you know, I like to give credit. Just wanted to talk to you because I didn't tell you this, but Steve is a huge Classic 5 Temptations fan. Huge, knows everything there is to know.
He don't know nothing about no Classic 5.
Yes, he does.
Come on with it, Chris.
What? What do you mean Classic 5? You mean the 5 originals?
Ain't no 5 originals.
Okay, let him explain this to you, Chris.
Well, he's right about that.
Okay.
There are 5 originals. But now, there's a difference between the original and the Classic 5. You from Detroit. You're a music man. Now, I want to hear your version of it before I give you the truth.
The Classic 5 would be with David Ruffin, not with Dennis Edwards.
There you go. Now, who would the original be?
Eldridge Bryant was the original who wasn't in that one.
My man. See? I ain't the only fool in the
if you go to SoulTracks, I have a page where I made this whole graph of every person who's ever been in the Temptations.
I've seen it.
Completely nerded out.
I've seen it. I've seen it. And and people try to challenge me on that. But obviously, my brother, you know what you're talking about.
He wouldn't have a magazine if he didn't.
I know a lot of people got magazines, don't know what the hell they talking about.
But anyway, did you happen to go to the naming of the David Ruffin Street?
I did not go there. I was out of town when that happened.
Okay.
We wrote about it, but I didn't go.
Okay. Was it well, you know?
Yeah. It was a big deal. It was a big deal.
Really? How many people were there?
Oh, God.
I think they had a few hundred.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I've been to Detroit, and I don't know where this was, but there is a housing kind of, now I don't want to say a development because people think I'm talking about the projects, but it's like a housing area. And and each street has been named after Motown groups or something. Where is that? Because I've been telling people about that. Was that where the David Ruffin Street was?
No. So there's a local guy named Herb Strather, and he bought and developed this entire area. And he's kind of an entrepreneur, and he knew all the Motown artists and the other artists. So when he was building the neighborhood, he had this idea. He'd get Frida Payne, he'd get the Four Tops, he'd get Aretha, and name streets after them, and kind of help sell houses in the neighborhood.
And they sold.
And they sold.
Yeah.
Well, because who wouldn't want to live on Aretha Franklin Lane?
Well, now, Chris, help me here. Although he's from Detroit and probably should be known as maybe the godfather of Motown, is there or is there not a Jackie Wilson Street?
I think there is. There was a big event a few years ago, and I think they named one of the streets after him.
Because it wouldn't be Detroit without Jackie.
Yeah. And Berry Gordy wouldn't have done Motown if not for Jackie.
True, because he was his #1 writer at the time. Yeah. What about Little Willie John?
I don't think there's anything for Little Willie John here.
That's a crime.
Yeah. You know, I will say Detroit was slow to kind of honor all these people. So
no slower than Gary.
Yeah, right. But right now the Motown Museum is going to, they're getting ready to do a big expansion.
Oh, really?
I mean, a big expansion.
Where could they go? I mean, it's the two buildings over there. What more do they spot?
They're going to build on a whole modern museum attached to the houses in the back. They're raising like $50 million.
Wow.
And it's going to be a lot of things, and it's great that it's finally happening. It should have happened 25 years ago.
True
when the artists were younger, so
they were still alive.
Yeah, so it's going to get done probably in the next 3 years.
Okay.
And there's going to be like youth education, and there's now a Motown. There's going to be this fall. There's going to be like a artist accelerator where artists go in and they can learn their craft. And there's a Motown tech accelerator coming to Detroit. So there's a lot of stuff happening now. It just would have been great if it had happened 20 years ago, but Detroit was a different place 20 years ago.
Now, what you just said has already happened in Memphis.
Yeah. The Stacks Academy, this, that, and the other. The what they call the incubator of soul. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, but that's going to be great. So you said it's going to be an extension onto the back
of that little bitty house.
Well, it's two houses joined together, and there was a third, but it burned down. And across the street where they actually rehearsed, because it had like a stage-like setting.
See, when I went to see the house, I just saw the blue house.
Because you didn't know the other houses were...
I didn't know they were part. It was closed.
He almost owned... Correct me now, Chris. He almost owned the whole block almost at one time.
He would, as he kept expanding the label, he kept buying houses. So it's like, okay, this is the building the bookkeeping goes in.
Right.
Stuff like. Okay. But you're right. Everybody, Karen. Everybody goes into the one Hitsville, USA house. That's kind of the main part of the museum.
And they come out on the other side.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm excited for that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What about the funeral home? Are they going to move ever?
Oh, I did see the funeral home.
Yeah, I forgot about the funeral home.
How can you forget about the funeral home, man? It's been there forever.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with the funeral home. You know how I feel about scary stuff.
There you go.
But, one of the things that we've been talking about... I went to visit Chess 2 weeks ago. The Chess Museum in Chicago, because we're real close to Chicago. Anyway, and they're planning to do some of the things that you're talking about in Detroit too. They're going to try to put in some educational stuff for people to come in and learn about recording, and they're going to put a new recording studio in there where people can come in and record. So everybody's doing stuff.
Yeah.
We've been trying to move people to say that Gary needs to do some stuff, because we've got a lot of artists that come from Gary too. Of course, the one, Michael Jackson, and then we've got Denise Williams, and we've got Jesse Powell, and Kim Mazel, who's the house. We just discovered her actually within the last 2 months. She's called the first lady of house music, but she lives in London and does all her stuff over in Europe now. But we've got probably some other art, and we've got the Spaniels, the Spaniels from here. And we're just like, why aren't we capitalizing on our musical and artistic roots here in the city?
Right, because a historical label started here.
Yeah, VJ started here
and moved to Chicago, but they started here on the streets of Gary.
Yeah. And so it just seems like a no-brainer, but for Detroit. But when did they've only started doing this within the last 20 years, huh?
I mean, they've really only started. The museum's been around and it's been fine, but this idea of really expanding it is really only in the last 3 years.
Oh, wow. Where are they going to get where's the money coming from?
Are you kidding?
It's mostly coming from
Motown?
Mostly coming from big corporations.
Yeah.
It's not coming from anything to do with the music industry. So places like Ford is giving money. Dan Gilbert, who owns the Cleveland Cavaliers, is giving money.
Oh, okay.
So it's mostly, wealthy people and corporations and some foundations are giving money. But, they're not there yet. I think they're about a third of the way there raising money.
And see, the difference between Gary, even though I say we have parallel histories, the difference between Detroit and Gary, you guys had corporations there that kind of underpinned your economy, even though when it was bad. Mm-hmm. We really don't. We just had U.S. Steel, and when it went, everything went. So we don't have those big companies anymore that would support stuff like that. So
yeah, so I'm from Flint. Flint's a lot like Gary.
Yeah,
it's a lot like Gary.
Yeah.
Flint really is.
Someone called, and I can answer this question because I know Chris probably can as well. Someone called and asked about Sammy Strand. Sammy used to he's an original member of Little Anthony and the Imperials. He's an original member, but for a time when they broke up, he went to the OJs, and he was with the OJs for maybe 15, 16 years. Right. But he's fine as far as I know.
He went back to Little Anthony
after the OJs, right.
But I know he's not with Little Anthony anymore, so I don't know where he is.
He left again?
Yeah, he left Little Anthony again, because at least when I got something from them a couple years ago, and he was no longer in the group. They didn't say anything, but I just didn't see him in there.
Well, those guys are up in their 80s, man.
Yeah.
They're in their 80s. Now, what gave you the bug?
No gray hair.
At all. Well, just for me and fix all of that.
Yeah, and Clairol. So if you have to, you can use Clairol. But, what
gave you the bug?
To do this, what inspired you to put together SoulTracks?
I planned on, when I was in college, I was the first writer about soul music. And nobody had ever written about soul or R&B, so I became the first writer there. And I graduated. I wasn't a journalism person. I just loved music, and my bug kind of sat there in the back of my head for a while, and then I wrote a couple things and put them on the internet on another website for fun. Out of the blue, I get contacted by Sirius XM asking me if I want to do a show.
Oh,
so I did a couple shows, but it was just like nights and weekends doing a couple of things, and then I really figured out what I wanted to do was get back to writing. So I had an idea for what I would do if I created my own website, and I just started writing for fun, and then one thing led to another, and now, here we are 15 years later, and we've got 7 writers, we've got an editor. Everybody in my family has worked on this thing.
That's good.
In our little niche, we're the largest site in the world.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
You are the largest site? Oh, I didn't know you were the largest site in the world. Wow.
I started off on on my wife's computer in our kitchen, and now it's kind of expanded to, something a little more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's been fun. I keep up with music. I get probably, 50 to 100 submissions a day to us of music. And so we kind of sort through that. We write about, we write reviews. We like to break new music, because you guys are the rarity, because most, radio doesn't play the stuff that we want to play.
No, I know.
And so, people, so if, Kool and the Gang have a new song, they're going to come to us and ask us to premiere it, stuff like that. Ooh. And it's been fun, and I got to meet all these artists I loved my entire life, and we get to help support younger artists who just won't get play. They're not going to be in USA Today. They're not going to be played on broadcast radio because they're not hip-hop.
Right.
And so we're kind of helping an audience discover them. So it's been a real blessing.
Wow, that's really great, Chris. I'm glad that you're out there because, like I said, we use you as a resource and here, and we love 60s, 70s, and 80s music, and that's what we do. We do classic.
Oh, do we?
Yes, we do. Well, Steve plays the music.
We're French now? We?
Steve plays the music. I just make commentary. But insightful commentary. Insightful commentary, yes. Okay.
We appreciate it, man.
That's Chris Rizik from SoulTracks.com. If you want to know anything about soul music and what's going on in the soul genre, go to his website because he's got it all.
There are a lot of groups that, never really hit mainstream, but are very popular in the black community, or that were very popular in the black community.
I can give you one right now.
Who?
Frankie Beverly?
White people don't know Frankie Beverly.
Never knew him.
Never. And he sold out constantly.
And constantly selling out.
You know who else was a good group, but that I don't think really, really crossed over was New Birth?
Come on, girl. Come on.
New Birth was the bomb.
But here's the thing. They had an identity crisis. You know why?
Why?
Because when they did Sunshine, not Sunshine, Wildflower.
Well, yeah, the other group initially did it, but go ahead.
When they did Wildflower, they thought it was a white group trying to sound black.
Let me explain to you about Wildflower. The first group that did Wildflower was a white group.
Who?
David Foster.
Okay.
And it was an interracial group, but David Foster, who has written every song that you know, even some Earth, Wind and Fire song, he was the initial. They were out of Canada, and they cut Wildflower, but it was mellow. Well, black guy sang lead on it.
Yeah.
You know, it was nice. I liked it even then. And then right behind them, New Birth came out
and
with
just tore it up. Just
a long time.
Do you know who's got a better version than New Birth? Are you ready?
Who?
OJ's.
Really?
In concert.
In concert.
Eddie Levert eats it up. I rest my case, Your Honor. Take Summer Breeze. The original artist. Who was
it? Right. Seals and Crofts did Summer Breeze. I knew it was the Seals.
Who put the stank on it?
Isley Brothers put the stank on it.
Thank you. Luther never crossed over.
Who?
Luther Vandross.
Oh, yeah. And I can never understand that.
Never. I don't remember him winning any Grammys.
Okay, you were right, though. We were talking about Luther Vandross, and we were talking about crossover acts, and how Luther, for some reason, never crossed over.
Never.
Well, he did win some Grammys, because we were like, did he win Grammys? And I'm like, I'm sure he won Grammys, but he only won them in R&B.
See?
He never won just...
all the records he sold on this side of this man.
Right. He never won just a Grammy for Best Artist or Best Album. So he won 8 Grammys, actually. He won for his 2004 album, which was his last album, Dance With My Father. He won Best R&B Song, Best Male R&B Vocal, and Best R&B Album.
And why? Let's be truthful. Why?
Because he died.
That's the only reason.
Because he died in 2005.
That's the only reason. You died, they'll give you every award in the world. Yeah.
In 2004, he also got another Grammy. Although I didn't like this song. It was close. The Closer I Get to You with him and Beyonce.
Wasn't a Roberta Flack or Donny Hathaway.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. I didn't really...
See, people get mad with me when I say there are certain songs that you should just leave alone.
Yeah. That was probably... Well, the way they did it, they should have left it alone. I didn't really care for that.
Big time.
But in 1997, he won for Best Song, Your Secret Love. 1992, Power of Love Vocal Performance, R&B, of course. And 1991, Here and Now, Best Vocal.
Now, you would think a man that was as talented as Luther would have crossed.
And I just really don't get why he didn't.
And why?
Why? Well, I mean, didn't Natalie Cole cross?
Natalie had what?
A name.
Okay. And a famous father. So people would give her... Luther sang commercials for years.
I know, the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Cause people think we're lying when we say
no,
this.
Right.
He did the Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial for years.
Conjunction Junction, what's your function? He did some of those for ABC. But you would think, as talented, you see, until Billboard and all those other people back in the day, Cashbox and all those folks say you have crossed, you don't cross.
Yeah, he should have crossed.
He should have crossed.
I don't know how many people really know. Sometimes I go to, the videos, look at their videos. Then you read the comments down there. And sometimes you'll see people who say, I've never heard this person before. Oh, my gosh, he's such a great person. Or, this song, I've never heard this song
You know
before.
why?
And I'm like, how could you not know these people?
In my time on radio, this is a true fact. We are more acceptable on the R&B side, but yet on the CHR side, they're not as acceptable.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's why country is raising hell now about the Old Town Road.
Right.
Now, if the Bee Gees can be played, and the Bee Gees, I mean, they were cool.
They sounded like little mosquitoes, but they were cool.
They were cool. The Stones.
A couple of their songs.
Hall and Oates, for Christ's sake. Okay?
They lived on
R&B. They lived on R&B. So now, why they wouldn't play Luther on CHR radio?
I don't understand it.
It
definitely was a CHR type.
No.
Oh, CHR. Tell people what that is.
Contemporary Hits Radio. No, we never. I can't even remember playing a Luther song on Q101 in Meridian.
Wow.
Now,
too bad.
Yeah, it is, and there are a lot of other artists the same way.
Okay, well, I just wanted to correct that. The other thing I wanted to correct was Ronnie Dyson was not with the 5 Stairsteps.
No.
You said that in one of our things.
I think he was one of the. He was from New York, though.
He was from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
He had his own thing going on, so he wasn't a part of.
I thought he was a Stairstep.
No, he was not. No, he was not. And then the other thing. Oh, okay. Those were the two things I wanted to clear up. My friend from Australia. Remember, I told you I got a friend who lives in Perth.
Yeah.
She sent me a link. She said, "Karen, you need to hear this singer. Have you ever heard of her?" Her name is Renee Geyer, Renee, and it's Geyer, Geyer. She was one of their 70s and 80s singers in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about Blue Eyed Soul, sings Joss Stone under the table.
Young lady right now?
She's not young anymore.
Oh, back then.
She did a lot of covers of songs in America, American music. And you just gotta go to YouTube. Her name is Renee, Renee, Geyer, Geyer.
You know who fits that bill?
Oh my gosh.
Who from jolly old England?
Who?
Dusty Springfield. Dusty Springfield.
To me?
She almost swallowed up Mary Wells and the Marvelettes because those ladies were her idols. Brenda Holloway.
I understand this lady, and I'm a Dusty Springfield fan.
Are you? Okay.
This woman
could dust up.
Could dust Dusty.
Ooh, them strong words.
I'm telling you, 70s and 80s. She was really popular there in Australia in the 70s and 80s.
But never came.
Never crossed. I've never heard of her. So I asked my friend, and she said she thinks she hit some stuff on the West Coast. And I was explaining to her. She said, I think she did some stuff in L.A. And I'm like, well, L.A., the Midwest, and the East.
Three different
media markets. I said she probably was maybe kind of out there. I said, but she didn't hit the Midwest and she didn't hit the East Coast.
That California soul was a genre that I don't think too many people understood.
Right.
Because you had black and white groups doing some of the same things.
Right. Mm-hmm. But this lady, if you go to the YouTube, her name is Renee Geyer, Geyer, and listen to her 70s and 80s stuff. Because now she's kind of old. I guess she was. She is. I guess she was mature.
Okay.
Back in the 70s and 80s, and now she's a little older. And her voice isn't as strong anymore. I mean, she still can sing, but the 70s and 80s stuff, you would have thought this was a sister.
Remember, I also told you we talked about Wildflower with New Birth.
Yeah.
Okay, so David Foster is the person who formed Skylark, which sang Wildflower initially, and you said you had never heard of David Foster. So let me tell you who David Foster has worked with since they broke up Skylark. Okay, he's worked with Chaka Khan, Alice Cooper, Christina Aguilera, Andrea Bocelli, Toni Braxton, Michael Bublé, Chicago, Natalie Cole, Celine Dion, Kenny G, Josh Groban, Brandy, Whitney Houston. In fact, he was the producer on I'll Always Love You. Jennifer Lopez, Olivia Newton-John, Madonna, Mary J. Blige, Michael Jackson, Peter Cetera, who is of Chicago, Cheryl Lynn, Barbara Streisand, and he has won 16 Grammy Awards. In fact, with Earth, Wind & Fire, he wrote After the Love Is Gone.
And a host of relatives and friends.
Friends, nephews, and nieces.
Right.
So he's a pretty big thing now.
Wow.
So yeah, he
and
won.
How many wives you say?
I think he's got about five wives now, five or six wives.
Wow.
He's also worked with the Beatles, George Harrison, and Ringo. Man, he plays the piano. He's played on After the Love Is Gone. Yeah, so he and Lionel Richie probably running neck and neck when it comes to Grammys and writing and stuff.
Lionel is just dangerous. Because anytime you could take an R&B, so-called R&B artist, and he can put the... And here's the thing. It's been done before, but people don't realize it. Lionel has a platinum album in country.
Yeah, because didn't he get it with Kenny Rogers?
Recently. Tuskegee album.
Oh.
Let's go back. There was another black artist back in the day that did a country album. Oh, I'm sorry. Country and Western album.
That was Ray Charles.
Exactly. And the record company, ABC Paramount, told him, Ray, we don't think that's a good idea. Well, I do have creative control.
That's right, because he made sure he did.
He made sure. Now, I'm going to make it do what it do, baby.
That's it. We're going to do what it do.
Do what it do. And it did what it was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Your cheating heart.
That's when I first started listening to country. Was Ray Charles, and then, of course, the Grand Ole Opry I had to watch.
Oh, and I go by that building every time I go through Nashville. WSM, Nashville.
But the next time you go to Nashville, where are you going?
Where? Nashville?
The National African American Museum of Music.
Oh, yeah, okay. I better leave early then.
That's the end of this week's podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.